So, as the title suggests, in this stream, I'm going to be doing some testing on the block mining simulation game, getting ready for a new release. So, in this current version, I have, I think I had the menu working kind of last time, but I have things working a bit better. So, if I'm in the game here, I press escape. Now it shifts focus over to the help menu, and I think last time I had the help menu, but I didn't have any content in it, and now the help menu works, and it's kind of laggy, but you can scroll down it. It works with page down, so you can read about the blocks. And another important thing is I have the the dedications now, so that people part of the Kickstarter reward for pledging in the past couple Kickstarter was you'd get a dedication, and now that actually appears somewhere in the game in the help menu. And I also show like the internal block representation, which is actually just the cast number at the moment, and the associated class name of the block. Nothing fancy, but just kind of an initial iteration. So there's lots of minor bug fixes and things in this version. So yeah, one is I fixed some crashes that were happening with the frame focus. So I have this thing built so it'll work fairly generically, where you can actually have more frames than this, but currently all that's supported is the map, the navigable map area, the inventory, and the help menu. And the inventory, you can select it, so you can do tab to select between the frames. And right now you can't actually do anything with the inventory. It's just kind of there. But that'll actually probably be one of the next things that I work on, is to get the inventory to actually do something. Probably just make it. I'll probably just add like a currently selected item or something. So yeah, for this stream, I'll just be testing out the game. Pretty similar to every other time. I'll probably do some proofreading, just see if I have any spelling errors or anything in the help menu, and then tomorrow, hopefully, I'll do the actual release for this. So that'll complete all of the commitments I have for the Kickstarter. And I think I'm actually running in wide character mode at the moment, so that's something I haven't tested. Yeah. So I'm glad that it actually seems to work. It looks yeah, it looks pretty indistinguishable from the normal narrow character mode, which means it's working. How long has stream been going? What have minutes? Probably about 5 minutes. So I just did a kind of intro to what I'm going to do today. Talked a bit about the help menu work. I talked to kind of introduced some of the same concepts last stream, but today I think I've got most of the polish on it. I guess the big thing this week is I actually have content in the help menu. Last time I think I just had like some text, and I got it working with scrolling now. So people asked before about what do the question marks and use characters do. Now I actually have a help menu where you can read about it. So I guess one thing I can also test with this is I guess this won't actually be in what I release, but I'm just testing it out with the multiple test frames. So it looks good. There's no the its frame characters are not messed up. It's surprisingly complicated to. I kind of had to rework my implementation a few times to get it to correctly draw all the frame connection characters, because it's like that plus connection is a separate character. And then also to get the frame highlights, so you can, this works too with tab view, but you get a lot of them to tab through. Yeah, and it all works in wide character mode. Gabriel says, hi, what are you working on? Tonight I'm just doing some testing on my block binding simulation game. The most recent thing I added was this help menu. So now you can press escape and it toggles this help menu thing over here. And along with that, I have this frame system, so you can I can add like generic frames to the game, and that'll be useful for other kinds of user interface features. Like before, it was just the inventory was just there. There's no way to to select the inventories, but next thing I'll implement is some way to actually select what the currently selected thing in the inventory is. And then of course I can also add a frame for equipping stuff or what have you, but that's for the future. Looks cool. Can frames go beyond a 3x3? Right now they're actually they're somewhat they're basically all hard coded. I have a couple different branches to set up the hard coded frames, with the exception of the help menu. So that was the core feature that I had proposed in this new version, is just having a help menu. So the only dynamic frame you can add is the help menu here. But in the future, the whole idea will be to maybe I'll probably make it so you press escape and then you can select which frame you want to open. And then another thing I want to add is ideally some way to size them. So if you want to make your inventory smaller, or just kind of like a pretty generic user interface management system. But I'm working at it a bit at a time. There's actually still some. It mostly works right now, but there's some race conditions. So if you resize the UI a lot, it has a whole bunch of printing errors, and it messes up the frame. And there's some background stuff that doesn't go away. And I know why that happens. I need to centralize some of the dimensions for things, and make it. The problem happens when one of the threads is getting outdated information about what the size of its frame is, so it prints in the wrong locations. But Anyway, this version works pretty well for just the help menu. This is my favorite unfinished indie block mining simulation game. Oh, thank you. That's a great honor to have. So I guess I might as well actually read through some of that. The main thing is, I guess, just check for spelling errors and things that don't make sense. So left arrow key. That's another thing I recently added is support for arrow keys. So before using the arrow keys to move did not work, because there's a in like the normal mode, when you press the arrow keys, it sends an ANSI escape sequence. So before I was just discarding those, but I added a rule to parse them. So left navigates left, decrease x coordinate by 1. Makes sense. When map area is selected, yeah, now you'll also have the extra confusion. Like, so if you press the left arrow key now, it doesn't do anything because you have to tab over to the map here. Scroll up in this help menu. Use the navigate up. Increase Z coordinate by 1. When map area is selected, navigate right. Increase X coordinate by 1. When map area is selected, scroll down in this help menu. Also use the navigate down. Decrease Z coordinate by 1. Map area selected. Q quits the game anywhere. Tab to switch focus to next frame. Keyboard input is only sent to the currently active frame. Therefore, you must use the tab key to make sure the correct frame is currently active. Opens or closes the help menu. W, navigate up. S to navigate down. Yes, that's right. D, use to navigate right. That's correct. A, navigate left. That's correct. Space to go up a level. X to go down a level. M to mine blocks. C to craft. P to place a block at current position. Question marks represent areas on the map that are not currently loaded into the game's client memory. The U character represents a block that has been loaded into the game's memory but has not yet been initialized. Uninitialized terrain occurs in areas of the map that have never been explored before. Uninitialized blocks will automatically be replaced with generated terrain the first time it's loaded. At the moment, there are no Easter eggs. I'd say at the moment the game is not there's not enough like detail in it. There's not enough like actual game elements. Like pretty much all the gameplay I've showed so far is pretty much all there is. I've been working on like refactoring a lot of the systems to just try and make it faster for the past, I guess, probably 2 months. Before there's a lot of problems with the chunk unloading and things were just very slow and stuff like that. So I spent a bit of time to work on that, try to make the database queries faster. And but now that I think probably the next thing I'll work on is just getting that inventory thing, getting something selectable in the inventory. And then eventually, at some point, I will have enough of the basic stuff implemented that I'll probably do a bit of focus on like improving terrain generation, and then maybe once I do that, and also I probably need like entities in the game. So right now there's no like monsters, or there's no enemies or anything like that. You just kind of press M and mine blocks. An empty block that represents a region of the world that contains nothing. 1 cubic meter of limestone rocks, calcium carbonate. 1 cubic meter of iron oxide. 1 cubic meter of metallic iron. 1 cubic meter of metallic copper. 1 cubic meter of wooden block. A wooden pickaxe, a stone pickaxe, and an iron pickaxe. 1 cubic meter of bauxite aluminum ore. 1 cubic meter of ilmenite. I like how chill it is, the game. Yeah, I guess it's I'm not sure how you define a chill game, but I guess it's good if it has that vibe to it. I guess because there's no enemies or like flashy graphics, that makes it really makes it very easy to take in. I like the way information is displayed, and it's an old classic games from the past century. Also remind me of Moonring, which has an oldie aesthetic. Yeah, I think the look of this game, I would say the style you're talking about is on purpose, but at the same time it's also like from my perspective as a developer, it's pretty familiar with like command line applications, and it's a limitation. But I also, if I can make a whole style or aesthetic out of it, then I think that could be good, because the amount of effort that is required to build a user, like the user interface of a game or any software application, is a lot of work, a lot of the code. And if I can develop a game around something that is, just a purely text graphics, then I think it would make it would allow me to focus on a lot more on some of the core stuff, and the total development time would be lower. And then eventually, maybe I can. I was actually thinking about. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But I was thinking about like some other, just kind of like playground extensions for like visualizing the game world and stuff. And but yeah, I also think it's we're kind of at a unique time, because it was only a couple of years ago that emoji characters, that we started getting like a massive number of these different emoji characters, and the fact that you can display emoji characters in the terminal is it's kind of it's a pretty new thing, and so it kind of paves the way. Like I've never actually seen any terminal application that makes extensive use of emoji characters before. So this could be the first one. And I mean, the reason why is because of that. I've talked before about how difficult it is to pre-calculate the width of a piece of text if it has Unicode characters, but because I built a fairly robust way of measuring that width into this game, then that hopefully won't be a problem. Well, I should say it is. It works in tmux. Yeah, it works in normal and wide character mode, and it works in tmux. But I think it's actually still broken in in Tmux in wide character mode, or I think it actually, when I looked this up, I think it might actually be a bug in the version of Tmux that I was testing it on, and then but in GNU Screen it's totally broken, because the way that GNU Screen handles like wider characters is just, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with it. Like it's not conservative. I need to actually write some like test cases to more pinpoint why it doesn't work. But you can draw like double wide characters and then single wide characters, and then things just don't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I think it's like acknowledged as a bug. It just doesn't support. It only supports ASCII. And I think even like Vim doesn't work if you have Unicode characters in a Vim program in GNU Screen. Did not realize those were emojis. Very nice and creative. Haven't realized that it opens a lot of possibilities, like cursus-based games, like roguelikes. Yeah, I haven't really ever played. I honestly have never played any terminal-based games before, except for I remember a few like old DOS games and stuff. But I know of like what is it? Gmud programs. Those were like what do you call it? Dungeon programs and stuff. But I was actually introduced to those a long time ago, but I never got interested in them because it was all just like reading and stuff. But for me, what I would want in a terminal game is like something like this, where you're just I don't have to like read a story. I can just like watch a map and explore like an actual 3D area instead of reading descriptions about exploring an area. Are you saying that frames shown are the actual Tmux frames? So the frames here, so like when I tab around, this user interface is completely in my game, in my program. So I'm not even using Tmux right now. This is just like GNOME terminal. But it should actually. Let's go ahead and test that. Actually, I don't know if it's installed on this one. I'll do it later, actually. Deepujit Baumik says, "Hello there." Clapping emoji. How's it going? Yeah, when I was talking about it working with Tmux is because it's a different terminal emulator. It has its own kind of way of rendering the graphics. And I was just saying in terms of like compatibility and portability, it works in basic regular GNOME terminal, and then it also works in it works in Tmux as well. So if you because that might sound trivial, but that was a whole range of there was actually a whole bunch of bugs if I would just run the game in GNOME terminal versus Tmux, where it would like completely crash, and I had some deadlocks and stuff, and it was because the timings were different for some of the character width detection. And I think it actually still is broken in wide character mode on like one version of Tmux, but I think when I was Googling it, I think it might be a bug in Tmux, in that version of Tmux itself. Hi Robert, like your content. Shorts help me a lot discovering new commands. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've got a decent number of the shorts now, so they're, I think, even experienced Linux professionals should learn about at least a few new commands with what's there. I'm just going to read through some of these, look for dumb mistakes. 1 cubic meter of the mineral pyrite, also known as fool's gold. 1 cubic meter of titanium dioxide, chemical formula TiO2. 1 cubic meter of the mineral or gemstone Chirso beryl, an illuminate of beryllium with the formula PeAl2. 1 cubic meter of metallic silver. All right, I would say that's pretty good. I think that'll do it for the first release with the frame-based UI. Now, of course, one issue now is that the inventory is becoming a bit problematic. It just gets cut off now, but that'll be the next thing to work on. What inspired me to make this game? I would say it's an idea I've had for a while, and I guess I just decided that it makes sense for what I want to do and what I find is actually achieves growth in my business and what the world actually wants. I've been doing I don't know if you saw my videos on like consulting in business and stuff, but I've talked about how the consulting business that I thought there would be lots of business for that. There just isn't, and now I thought that I could actually achieve, do a few consulting gigs and then get some growth, and then hire some people to do more consulting stuff. But my conclusion is that the work is just not there, and the value, where the money is in in just getting, being the financial business people and getting the contracts, and then subcontracting it to a foreign country for the smallest possible wage. Like if you look at all the corruption scandals going on in the Canadian government right now, that's where the money is to go into politics and get the contracts, and then don't actually do it, just subcontract all the work. And in private sector stuff, there's tons of people watching Dragon's Den, or people who have ideas for entrepreneurial projects, but they have no clue how to do it, and so they'll be like, "Oh, you're a software developer. I'll just get you to make this app, and then I'll pay you 10%, and you give me 90% because it's my idea." And these people have no idea how to actually start a business, or how to run a business, or build a product. And the big issue is anything B2B, so business to business stuff. If you have a couple bad contracts, because the number of distinct transactions you have in a B2B business is smaller, but the money exchange is larger. It means if you have a few bad deals, if you have a couple clients that don't pay you, then you're completely out of money. But going more towards consumer stuff, I think there's more. If the market goes down, you get less sales, but you still get some sales, and so you still have some cash flow. So yeah, I guess in my view, it's kind of a business decision of that naturally extend from the YouTube stuff is YouTube started making a little bit of money, so I decided, why don't I just stop doing the consulting, double down on this, try to grow the ad revenue, and if things work out, and this is still, in my mind, it's still not proven, because I think I've only made like $200 in revenue from this game, from a couple of Kickstarters I did, which I mean is still, I think, pretty impressive given how simplistic it is. But if I can just keep making it better and keep adding more new interesting features and get a cult following, then maybe I can actually fund enough to grow this into something more interesting. And the more features the game has, the more interesting it has. I think the easier it is to get sales. And I guess the other answer to why specifically a terminal game, you have to start from where you are and like use whatever kind of market advantage you have. And I think with all the terminal command stuff, I think I have a kind of, at least in a very narrow circle of competence, I actually have some authority to speak on some of those topics. So I think it makes sense to start the game there. And then if the game can work in the terminal, if I have a functioning terminal-based game, it's very easy to build a better user interface on top of that. But to go the other way is not necessarily as easy, and it's a ton of work to build a game in the first place. I'm building some new open source software for the blind, plus using machine learning for glasses to navigate for blind people. Oh, that's a very interesting and altruistic project. Is this like a commercial software or open source software? So free, I assume. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine. Occasionally I've thought to myself, like, what would happen if I went blind? And I imagine, like, the very first thing, like, suddenly I could imagine my world would be like, for 16 hours a day, I would be like trying to find a way to write software to like allow me to interact with the computer, because if I went blind, then some kind of advanced human computer interface would be like my lifeline, and my that's how I'd make any money and survive. Yeah, that's a cool project. I'm glad that it's great that there are people that work on those accessibility things. I mean, not just for because it helps people, but I imagine there's like, it probably increases GDP a lot, because there's probably a lot of people out there who, if they didn't have sufficient software that enables them to still work, then they wouldn't be able to like have a job or make income or anything like that. But having a good human computer interface allows you to actually, you could have a job being totally blind. I'm gonna have to improve this setup in the future. It's not good for my posture. I'm all hunched over. You should make it multiplayer. So actually, the very first thing I did, I made it multiplayer before I made it single player. So it is possible. That's kind of a lie, but it is. So I have like a working multiplayer client that I've been maintaining and keeping up to date. But it's really not. It's not actually appropriate for like public multiplayer, in that you can't. Basically, you right now there's only like that one square. That's the only player right now. And if you connect to it, you can send like movement commands and stuff like that, but it doesn't actually differentiate between. So you basically have like two different players that are controlling the same square. So it's not, and also there's no authentication or anything. I would need like an actual sign up process and stuff to create an account and things like that. That doesn't exist yet, but it does work. I do have like a server where you can you can literally play this. I can host this server on a different machine and then connect to it just by connecting right to the socket. And the other issue is there's no like transaction resolution. So anytime you send like packets to update things, the message to like change blocks. So if two people try to mine a block at once, it's just a race condition. And it would be possible to dupe things. But that's one of the other kind of next priority things. There's currently no there's no concept of game ticks in the game at the moment. I have ideas for how to actually implement that, but I have to get around to actually doing it. And I'm also not 100% sure if it'll be fast enough. So now for actual like production games, people think quite a bit about trying to decrease latency as much as possible using like UDP packets and stuff. I think adding the gem characters makes it look a bit more like actually game-like now. I'm gonna have to learn how to pronounce that. Chrysoburial. Cool. It's cool that you can switch layers like that. Yeah, I made it. I wanted to make it like a 3D world, but to represent a 3D world in terminal is on flat surfaces kind of challenging. I mean, the eventual goal will be my vision behind the idea is that it could be like a world you can connect to it with different clients. So you could have this would be like the 2D client, the command line client, but then you can also have a separate like actually 3D client. There's nothing preventing you from doing that and just coding it up. And recently I also learned about Sixels, which is like an actual, like a pixel representation for the terminal, but it was like specified back in the 1980s, and it was only supported, it didn't get wide support, but there's a bunch of people, there's some other terminal emulators that actually do support Sixels. And I think it exists in, if I remember correctly, it exists in tmux, but it's like, it's not enabled. You have to recompile it yourself and specify a flag to enable it. So it might be, it may become a more widely supported thing. And if that would basically, that would mean I could do like arbitrary pixel drawing stuff. So you could have like a 3D, like any kind of 3D game directly in the terminal, and you wouldn't have to switch like graphics modes or anything. But I guess it's it probably would not even be I don't know how that would work in like the Linux console, because I think with like console graphics you're limited to begin with, so really the only place it would work is in any kind of environment that could already support a real 3D graphics engine anyway. So it'd be kind of pointless. But let's go get some wood blocks. Real money slot says whack graphics. Do you mean that in a good way or a bad way? Bad. Well, it's terminal based, so it's quite limited. You can only work with what's available. Oh, it's amazing then. Oh, thanks. Play RuneScape? I've never played RuneScape. Play Space Engineers now? I've never not familiar with that game. I'm playtesting my own game. I sound like a robot? Maybe I'm AI. I like this vibe. That's good. You're busting my chops. Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate it, I guess. Gabagool says, I appreciate your efforts. Your name is Harry. How's it going, Harry? Am I mad at you? I would say no. What would I have to be mad about? Get off your high horse. You're friendly? Alright, I believe you. Game looks great. I definitely think it would Code Live people will be very interested. Yeah, I haven't done much. I've done some like live debugging of the game, but not much live coding. My setup is not really great, and I'm not good at multitasking. I find when I'm live, it's like it's hard for me to think, and I also don't have my. I like having my bigger monitor and. I'm a very popular YouTuber. I can make or break this whole operation. Oh, that's pretty cool. How many subscribers do you have? Or you've got one poor quality video. Yeah, but if that one day that one poor quality video, it might go viral. And you'll get 10 million views. Hi Robert, is the source available for this game? What pushed you to start writing this? Yeah, I think there's a link in the there should be a link in the description to the GitHub. The current version with the frames and stuff, that's not released, but I'll be releasing that tomorrow, I think. But as for what pushed me to write it, it's an idea I've had for a while, and I'm going to try and use this to monetize some of the other stuff that I've been working on. So because my channel, I do a lot of terminal-based stuff. I think there's a lot of interest in video games, so I thought a video game is it's a good substrate for teaching, but also for it could have like microtransactions or whatever kind of monetization models. Why are you hiding all your hair? What do you mean by hiding? My dad actually owns Alphabet. He can make sure nothing happens to this operation. Oh, that's good. You got my back. I know I'm safe now. I wonder if you could implement some kind of character shake or drift to make things harder while mining. Yeah, there's lots of different game mechanics that I've thought about adding. Mostly, the game is just has like usability issues. Like for example, one of the things I just added was the ability to like select, have like frames and then select frames, so I can like use tab to go between this area and this area. But at the moment, I don't have a way to actually like do anything with the inventory. So the next thing will be to implement a feature so you can actually select the current thing in the inventory. Because right now you can place blocks, I can place rocks, but I can't select anything else to place any other type of item. And add money, add selling. Yeah, I think it's I think maybe like, I guess if it's the core concept is like it's about block mining, which I think is I think I actually saw a YouTube video recently that was titled like there's a disproportionate number of games that have that are actually based on mining, like even ones that predate Minecraft. It's like one of the fundamental kind of basic first things humans started doing is mining. It's like the beginning of any kind of industrial activity. So I think it would make sense to focus more around like a real mining game, and have include different types of mining, and maybe even like a include some of like the real world mechanics of mining, of like, you know, getting ores and then getting ore concentrates, and then, you know, you sell it on like a stock market or something. Or what's your end goal with the game? Will there be a competition aspect to it, like other factions stealing resources? That's a good question. I'm kind of just gonna develop as I go, and start off with using it as just a substrate to play around with some of my ideas for one thing I'd like to experiment with a bit more in the near future is like with the terrain generation. I think the way the terrain develops has a really major impact on the game. So just adding like new block types and new types of terrain. Because right now the code for actually generating like ore deposits and stuff is it's like it was basically like the simplest code I could write in like 5 minutes. It just has like a, you know, if one of the noise waves, the long period noise waves, goes above a certain value, then it just like bins it into ranges, and then based on what value range it puts a certain type of mineral block there. It's not, it kind of works, but it's not very good. So just experimenting with different features. I'll probably at some point maybe add some like almost like features into the game to do things like change the terrain generation from within the game. So just like, you know, so you can do escape, and then you'll have like a help menu here, and then I can like in real time, I can just change some of the values of the noise function to regenerate the terrain, just to experiment with it in real time. I like this game stage. Anything is possible from here. I'm going to subscribe and keep updated through the months. Yeah, it is. I think the point where you can just kind of, you know, things are poised to just have new, like right now, adding a new block type is quite easy. Although at the moment, I don't have any kind of, you can't really do anything with the blocks. So, oh yeah, that's another thing I need to add soon is not only the ability to like do like select inventory items, but I'll probably add like another frame for crafting recipes. But for that, I guess I'll have to think about how that whole thing will work. Favorite tool for virtual machines? You know, I haven't done much work with virtual machines lately. Yeah, I'm not. I guess it depends what exactly you mean for that. I mean, there's like VirtualBox and VMware. Those are the two main virtualization technologies. And then, of course, there's like more lightweight containerization stuff, like Docker and what is it? I think LXD containers. I haven't used those personally. And then there's chroot environments, or I guess people. I've been told that it's pronounced chroot environment, but I don't like saying that. QEMU is pretty good too. Yeah, I haven't used QEMU, but from what I understand, it's I guess VirtualBox is like not like doesn't do real emulation, but QEMU, from what I understand, I've never had a need to use it, but if you want to like fully emulate a different architecture on another machine, then QEMU is able to do it. I think QEMU, that was I think the original version was from Fabrice Bellard, the famed super programmer. Thanks for your replies. Really like your channel. The way you share your knowledge. It's my favorite live stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. I download pirated software on virtual machines usually. That and creating workspaces for cybersecurity training. Oh yeah, I guess that's if I downloaded pirated software, I probably would use virtual machines more, but I guess I try to just avoid that stuff completely. I know if it's like if it actually has like sophisticated malware, it can escape the virtual machine. The level of sophistication of cyber attacks out there is getting crazy, especially with like all the big intelligence agencies themselves getting hacked and then leaking all of their advanced like taxpayer funded hacking tools. I worry a lot about working for big tech. Hopefully something happens so it won't be such a monopoly. Yeah, it is. I mean, depending on which direction you go with that statement, there's definitely a lot of problems in the industry. Like if you're for getting a job in tech, it really seems like if you want to make the big bucks, your only option is to go for the Microsoft, Google, Amazon company. If you go outside of that, you're either not making as much money, not nearly, or if you're doing like a startup where everything's very speculative, and like you won't know for sure if you're even going to have a job in the next 6 months. Although the venture capital, with interest rates going high, all the highly speculative venture capital startups, those kind of faded away. But now interest rates are going down again, so we may have that same kind of ridiculous cycle again. I'm not sure what'll happen, but I mean, interest rates will affect it tremendously. But with that, I'll probably call it a night here. Did about an hour of playtesting. Didn't have any crashes. The menu looks all right. So probably tomorrow I will do another push to give this a release, and then that will complete the that'll complete the fulfillment of what I promised for the last Kickstarter. Oh, can't you go diagonally? No. I was thinking about that. I could do like Q and E for, well, I guess actually Q is quit. I have to figure out what keys to use, because the problem is, because it's a terminal-based game, terminals, in a graphical environment, you can detect key up and key down, but in like the general model of a terminal, there's no concept of key up or key down, so it means I cannot like reliably detect Q. Like if I press two keys at once and hold them down, I can't use that for diagonal. So that's one of those kind of obscure limitations where it kind of seems like you should be able to do it, but it is possible with the J and I stuff that I added. I guess I could just add it. I probably could just add it so that it works with key up and key down if it's available, and then it would mean that in like the pure console it wouldn't work. But should really do this more often. I was doing it a bit more often for a while, but I decided to switch back to once a week because it's a bit of work to prepare. I find I'm using my camera, and I'm always like, I always need the monitor for something else. So it sounds almost unbelievable, but it takes me like almost like an hour to get set up, to plug in all the cables and set up the camera and set the focus and everything. So I think once a week is probably good for now. And then I need to, I got to work on making some more videos, because the videos really bring in lots of viewers and money and stuff like that. The live streams are not really that popular, and I'll do them for now, but it's I'd say for the moment, my goal is not to become a big live streamer, because to compete in that market, it's a very difficult market to compete in. But anyway, I'll leave it there for tonight, and see you guys next Saturday.